What's up, guys? Pastor Rob here with another reaction video. And as usual, I have my son Gage.
What's up?
And as usual, we're going to be reacting to a song requested by you guys in the comments section of our videos and offering some biblical perspective. Now, keep in mind that this is not an endorsement of the artist or the genre as a whole, but an attempt to create discussion and encourage discernment while listening to music. For additional resources related to the channel, please visit PastorRobReacts.com. And if you find our content beneficial, please consider becoming a patron by joining our Patreon page using the links down in the description. There, for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to bonus videos, behind the scenes, bloopers, and all sorts of additional content. So again, go down to the description of this video. You'll find links to that as well as to our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow us there. We put out all sorts of content there. We're very engaged with that. Today's reaction is from
Parkway Drive.
And the song is called
Wishing Wells.
Do you know anything else about the band?
I know nothing.
Me neither. I should. Oh boy, this is not going to go well, is it?
I think it's kind of fun going into them blind sometimes.
Yeah, well, I'd like to at least know a little bit about the band. Well,
True. Well, I mean, I assume that they're metal. Just, you know.
Wouldn't it be funny if it's country? Wishing Wells, wishing Wells. It's probably not going to be the case. Well, I know I've seen this. This was probably one of the early requests that we got.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and I promised person I'd get to it. Didn't realize
it was one of our first requests too, like last October, I think.
Yeah, so and we got flooded with requests, and somehow it got pushed.
Yeah, it's been on the back burner for a while.
So we're finally getting to it. So thank you for those of you and the first person who requested it. We've seen them. We haven't been ignoring them. We're just trying to get to them. So
yeah,
I'm actually ready to dive in because I want to know if it's at least country or metal.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Let's do it. That's cool. Could be country.
I spoke about today and asked if God had come and play. I've dug a shallow hole for him to sleep, but I swear he just won't answer me. I call on out, is he afraid I'll bury him down with the ones he keeps? And if the devil's listening, I'll come for him as well, if I suspect he had a hand to play. And if I see his face in town, there's room for two down underground. Nothing's gonna stop me till I'm done. Until I'm done!
Oh. Man.
Until I'm done!
Huh.
Until I'm done!
Good growls.
Until I'm done! Tonight I'm killing gods. Killing gods.
You hear that guitar? That is super cool.
That's good.
Is everything between the silence and the absence hitting home. Peripheral glances and the chasing of the sound. I never knew I'd miss until it's gone. So ask me how I'm coping, and I'll smile and tell you I'm just fine. Well, down inside I'm drowning in a pit of rain. Because when everything is empty and your heart is septicated, sometimes all you wish for is a place, the place. push the policy, the devastation that only muscle leaves. The chasing incantations of daily rituals, the collapsing through honesty. So ask me how I'm coping. I'll smile and tell you I'm just fine. We'll tell in silence, screaming till I get off the blade. Because when everyone's expendable and your heart can take the weight, the last thing that you wish for is the face to face the pain. For your living, for your home. Drown you in your wishing wells. For your living, for your home. Damn you all. 'Cause tonight I'm killing you.
That bass.
I spoke about it, yes, it's gone. Come and play, 'cause I just wanna cut that house down. Face me. Face me.
Not sure he wants that.
Face me. Face me. Face me. Unsurvive. Face me. Face me. Unsurvive. Go. Unsurvive. The devil and God have died inside me.
What'd you think?
That was a pretty Rooten Tooten country ditty right there.
Did you say Ditty? What? Wow, I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you. That was good. That was classic. That was really good.
But no, I like the song.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. It's actually been a while since an extreme metal song has tickled my ears quite in that way. It was
So you
really
enjoyed
good.
the song as a composition.
Yeah, but the lyrics were stupid. They were like pathetic. I'm going to be honest. Like, really.
I'm sure we're gonna get hate mail for that, but I have to concur. To me, it was an attempt at being
It was very angsty and
extra shocking, maybe for the sake of
Yeah.
shock. It
Yeah, I
wasn't
feel like.
honest. But well, let me back up. From what I could see in the video, and from what I can understand from the lyrics, it's somebody trying to express pain and anger, grief. There's a couple lines where he seems to reference some sort of grief. You ask me how I'm doing, I tell you I'm just fine. Like he's hurting, and he's angry. The video did a real good job.
Yeah, what do you think of the video itself? I thought that was a pretty interesting
It
shot.
was. I liked the lighting.
Yeah.
I really did. I know how hard those kind of dark videos are to pull off, as well as just having the singer by himself there.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah,
I've seen a couple other bands do it, like that similar style. Like I've seen In Flames do it on a recent song of theirs, but it wasn't near as good as that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was good.
I like that.
But he did a good job. You can see him like just bottled up with this angst as he was
Yeah.
building to the yelling portion
Yeah.
of the song. So I mean, composition wise, I think it was good. The bass guitar I liked. I liked
Yeah.
just about everything about
Yeah, it was
it.
cool. Yeah,
I
he
like
was a
how
really good vocalist too.
Yeah, he starts with the acoustic guitar, and then the
Oh,
heavy
yeah.
stuff comes in there. So there's lots of layers and
Oh, yeah.
change ups.
In the beginning, I like when he was doing that. I don't know what you call it. I think it's like a fry vocal. It's like when you talk like this, kind of like that. You know what I mean? I think so.
I've never heard that
I don't really
phrase.
know if that's the right term,
But
but
yeah, he's talking kind of low,
Yeah.
like that, like in his vocal cords.
Yeah.
And it was almost spoken word delivered, like it was more of a poetry style
yeah,
delivery. Yeah, I appreciated all of that. Looking at it from the perspective of the writer, maybe somebody who is hurting, I get it. And if you're somebody who's been hurt, this is a song that you're going to identify with. You know, and we've all been hurt. So there's moments in there where I felt, I don't know if I use the word comfort, but I just felt, I'll use the word comfort in knowing somebody else understands what that pain feels like.
Yeah, I like how he portrayed his struggle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the imagery involving God was kind of weird. You know what I mean? I don't really understand it.
Again, I think there was was the sake of, they were doing that to be shocking.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that, but that's a little extra.
Yeah, I feel like even for someone who's anti-Christian, that's still like really extra.
Yeah, but if you've ever been hurt, and I believe it or not,
yeah, maybe he's been hurt by the church, so he's
and maybe not just
actually
the church,
feels
just
that
in
way.
general. Like if you've lost a loved one, which I've lost loved ones, if you've had somebody hurt you in just the deepest way, somebody you trust turn on you in some kind of way, that it hurts, and it hurts deeply, and it hurts for a long time. I know it. I've experienced it, so I get it. But yeah, he's a little extra. I feel like he just took it a little too far, again, for the sake of being shocking, and that kind of turned it away. But let's ignore that for a second. Let's look at the lyrics. He said, I spoke a vow today and asked if God would come and play. I've dug a shallow hole for him to sleep, but I swear he just won't answer me. I call on out. Is he afraid? I'll bury him down with the one he keeps. If the devil's listening, I'll come for him as well, if I suspect he had a hand to play. So something bad happened to him. He's trying to find someone to blame it on. Mm-hmm. He even says it in the next verse. He says, sometimes all you wish for is a place to place the blame. He did that twice, but with different lyrics. I like that delivery pattern.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I don't feel like this was actually literally, I'm killing God, because at the end of the song, he ends it with saying, what's he say at the end? Where's the last page here? So at the end, he says, none survive. The devil and God have died inside of me.
What do you think he means by that?
I'm assuming it's his belief in the Judeo-Christian, theology in essence. That's what I think. But the first thing we have to understand is that we all, when we go through these things, we all deal with our grief in different ways. Some people are a little more extroverted, and they'll go, they're seemingly happy, but that's how they deal with it. They kind of hide it by being happy. Some people recluse into their rooms. Some people cry. Some people go do sports. Some people bury themselves in their work. Everybody deals with grief in different ways, and some people shake their fist at God and blame God. And it's not really wrong. It's not wrong necessarily to question God and God's timing and ask him, where is he? Psalm 13 is a great example. It says, it's a good one. He says, how long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all the day? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer me, O Lord, my God. Light up my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Lest my enemy say, I have prevailed over him. Lest my foes rejoice because I am shaken.
Mm-hmm.
But I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. But still the psalmist is asking God, how long will you hide your face from me? Where are you?
Yeah.
And as we've said in other videos, and when we have a man-centered theology, and this is what the title, I think, kind of lends to that idea, the wishing wells, as if, why aren't these deities that are supposed to be acting good on our behalf, why aren't they answering when I throw the quarter into the well, when I say my little prayer? Why aren't they protecting all the things I love for my sake? Why aren't they obeying me?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the lyrics come from a complete man-centered process of thought, Yeah,
you're right. And when you're dealing with griefs, that is a very personal emotion. So there is an element where you are going to be thinking about yourself in that time. So again, I'm trying to get into the writer's head here. But I still think it's a little over the top, but we're pushing that to the side.
Yeah.
Next verse, in the first verse, so that was that little spoken wordy, whatever you called it.
Yeah.
Verse 1, It's guilt and frustration. It's everything between the silence and the absence hitting home. This is where it gets good. I think he did better on these verses than he did on this whole God theme. Peripheral glances and the chasing of a sound I never knew I'd miss until it's gone. So obviously I'm assuming died. The silence and the absence hitting home. Peripheral glances and the chasing of a sound I never knew I'd miss until it's gone. I knew people who had, I had a friend who had their loved one's voicemail on their phone. One of the last voicemails they left, and they would just listen to it all the time. Anytime they missed them, they would just listen to that voicemail. And it was very important to them. And that's that similar thing. You're chasing a sound you never knew you'd miss. Probably the voice of the loved one, I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
So ask me how I'm coping, and I'll smile and tell you I'm just fine. While down inside, I'm drowning in the rain. Because when everything is empty and your heart is set to cave, sometimes all you wish for is a place to place the blame.
Yeah. I really like the first verse. It was well written, and I think he does a really good job of conveying those feelings.
Yes, truly. That's what I say. It's a good song, and I could sense it. I just feel like he added this little shock factor.
Yeah, I don't know if that was even necessary.
I don't know. I don't know if he, again, going back to the wishing wells thing, as if God's meant to help us deal with grief. I wonder sometimes, some people say this. They say, oh, God made up God to help people, deal with the death of a loved one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how that necessarily helps you deal, because there is also hell and heaven. So it's like, if you were to make something up like that, I certainly wouldn't be creating a hell. I'd just be like, hey, everybody dies and goes to heaven. Yeah. Everybody's perfect up there. There's no trouble. Everything's good. Enjoy. Go. So I don't know. I get it, but I
think a lot of people who say that have an improper, like a lot of people who say that Christianity is like a crutch for people to deal with grief. I don't think they understand exactly what heaven and hell is. Maybe they think that hell is only for like criminals or whatever. So they don't realize that everyone who doesn't follow God actually goes there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's for those who, all of us are naturally sinners. We are born sinners. We're under the sin of Adam. We're under condemnation. The first time even before we take a breath, the world is already condemned, and God rescues us from that condemnation through Christ. So those who don't trust in that condemnation are already naturally, as the scripture says, children of wrath.
Yeah.
Not children of God. We're not naturally children of God, I think is what you're trying to say. But it's interesting when you say that people don't understand. It's true. C.S. Lewis wrote a book called A Grief Observed, and it's actually his personal thoughts in like a journal after his wife died of cancer. Love of his life. It's just like the perfect marriage, and he loved her dearly. And he wrote after she died, and he was a Christian theologian and an author, well known.
Yeah.
He kept all these things not to publish them. When he published them under a fake name, so that way nobody know it was him. It was later republished under his name after he died. But he really talks about some of these feelings in a way, and he mentions that. He says, I'm running off the cuff here. Actually, it might be helpful to pull the quote up. So C.S. Lewis says in that quote, he says, "Talk to me about the truth of religion, and I'll listen gladly. Talk to me about the duty of religion, and I'll listen submissively. But don't come talking to me about the consolations of religion, or I shall suspect that you don't understand."
Real quick, what does he mean by consolations?
Like how it would help you in a time of grief.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like anyone who's... That's basically what I was trying to say earlier.
Exactly what you were trying to say.
Actually, obviously, he worded it much better.
Yeah, he's eloquent. Yeah, nobody's going to be as eloquent as him.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of good quotes in that book. In fact, here's one. "No one ever told me that grief felt so like fear. I am not afraid, but the sensation is like being afraid. The same fluttering in the stomach, the same restlessness, the yawning. I keep on swallowing.
Mm-hmm.
At other times, it feels like being mildly drunk or concussed. There is sort of an invisible blanket between the world and me. I find it hard to take in what anyone says, or perhaps hard to want to take it in.
Mm-hmm.
It is so uninteresting. Yet I want the others to be about me. I dread the moments when the house is empty. If only they would talk to one another and not to me. He even he dreads the time when the house is empty, because that's similar to what he mentioned in that first verse.
Yeah.
So C.S. Lewis, as a Christian, understood that. Here's another quote from that. I once read the sentence, quote, "I lay awake all night with the toothache, thinking about the toothache and about lying awake," end quote. That's true to life. Part of every misery is, so to speak, the misery's shadow or reflection. The fact that you don't merely suffer, but have to keep on thinking about the fact that you suffer. I not only live each endless day in grief, but I live each day thinking about living each day in grief. Now, C.S. Lewis struggled with the death of his wife to cancer, horrific death, particularly back in those days.
Yeah.
They had really nothing to help them.
How long ago was it?
That's a question I don't know the answer to. I can't recall, but I'm guessing the 50s, 60s, 40s, somewhere in that time frame. There was at least radio out. I know that because he has some radio broadcasts. But he's grieving over the death of his wife. He's writing these things in a journal privately. He's struggling with some of the thoughts that he's having and the emotions he's having. And he's describing grief in an amazing way. Very similar to the way the artist described it in verse 1 and 2, which we didn't look at verse 2. The incendiary shock wave, scorched earth policy, the devastation that only loss will leave, the chants and incantations of daily rituals, a subtle lapse of brutal honesty. So ask me how I'm coping, and I'll smile and tell you I'm just fine, while down inside I'm screaming till I bleed. Because when everyone's expendable and your heart can't take the weight, the last thing that you wish for is the face to face the pain.
I like how he wrote verse 2 pretty similarly to verse 1.
Same pattern, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
But you see, he's having that same struggle C.S. Lewis has, like, I'm going through these daily rituals, and I'm a sudden lapse in brutal honesty. Instead of telling the people, look, I'm struggling, he said, I'm just fine, it's all good. And similar to what C.S. Lewis was describing in his grief. C.S. Lewis points something very important out.
Yeah.
That I think, this quote here, he says, "The time when there is nothing at all in your soul except to cry for help may be just that time when God can't give it. You are like the drowning man who can't be helped because he clutches and grabs. Perhaps your own reiterated cries deafen you to the voice you hoped to hear." That's heavy.
Yeah.
Let me read that again. The time when there is nothing at all in your soul except a cry for help may be just that time when God can't give it. You are like the drowning man who can't be helped because he clutches and grabs. Perhaps your own reiterated cries deafen you to the voice you hope to hear. So you've seen people try to rescue someone drowning, and they're grabbing and clutching, and they can't rescue them because they themselves will be drowned.
Yeah.
And so they end up drowning. They end up preventing the rescue. And in essence, he's saying that you keep reiterating this grief and repeating in your mind your cries, and it's deafening you to what God's trying to show you. And ultimately, C.S. Lewis's conclusion is that God uses pain in our lives to teach us to know and trust Him. It's necessary.
Yeah.
Not just that. He was able to experience gratitude during this time of grief. He was able to experience the gratitude of the gift of love, of having had his wife for the time he had her. Rather than continuing to grieve, he realized what a gift it was that God even shared her with him for a moment.
Yeah.
God had already ordained that this would occur long before C.S. Lewis even knew her.
Mm-hmm.
C.S. Lewis was shocked to find out, but God wasn't.
Yeah.
God gave him the time to be with her, to enjoy her and love her. And it's easy to want to shake our fist and say, what about my wish? What about my wish? What about my wishing well?
Mm-hmm.
What about my quarter? Remember the movie Goonies?
Yeah.
When they're going through the tunnel underneath the well, he picks up, I can't remember, but he picks up one of the coins, says, this is mine. I never got my wish or whatever, and he keeps it. It's so much like how this song is, and a lot of us are. God is sovereign over death, and that should comfort us.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of us don't see it that way. We're looking at it from our man-centered perspective. We're looking at it from our mortal, perspective in time, not from God's perspective outside of time. So we can't appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to say is trust God. It's okay to be angry, number one. It's okay to grieve. Be sad. It's fine. C.S. Lewis, the book is great. If you want to get it, I'll have a link down in the description of the video.
Mm-hmm.
And I suggest reading it. You'll find that even he questions God in similar ways, but he comes to the right conclusion where he decides to kill God inside of him.
Yeah.
And threaten God to come down and face me, which, again, it was just for shock value. It's kind of stupid. Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I kind of want to retract my previous statement of kind of saying that all the lyrics were dumb. I think a lot of the, like, verse 1 and verse 2 are pretty meaningful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But everything else, I don't really understand the significance of.
Yeah. Yeah. The middle part was really good. The verse 1 and verse 2. Again, I'm going to keep making that assumption, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I do believe it was just an attempt at shock
maybe
value.
you guys can provide some further insight.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, I apologize to the artist if that's not the case, if you truly want to challenge God that way. But God is patient, too. That's the beauty. Like, even someone like this who hates God or is presenting themselves as hating God, God is patient. God didn't come down and face him.
Yeah.
That's grace. God didn't give you what you deserved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wouldn't have been too hard for him to just zap you.
Actually, that's mercy. Not getting what you deserve. But yeah,
Mercy, yeah.
Mercy is not getting what you deserve, and grace is getting what you don't deserve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So God mercifully is not hearing him.
Yeah, mercy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody like this, life can change at any time. And anybody listening to this, life can change at any time. I've read so many testimonies from people who watch the channel whose lives have been impacted by the videos, by biblical truth and good theology.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, that wraps up another video for us. If you like the video and you want to participate in the discussion, please leave a comment on the video. Try to read as many as I can and respond to them if I can. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All the links will be in the description of the video, as well as become a patron. That helps us keep the channel going. We really appreciate that. There's for as little as $1 a month, you can join that, and that helps us. There's different levels. One of the levels gets you a shout out on the video, and that level is called the Super Supporters level. I can't remember the amount. I have no idea. You can go look. But we have 3 still right now, which is Jonathan Self,
Sam Thompson,
and Bristol Payne. We thank you guys so much. It means a whole lot to us that you support us at that level. We have additional supporters listed down in the description of the video as well. We appreciate all of you guys just as much because it all adds up to keep the channel going. We actually receive just enough or just barely enough to cover the costs related to the channel. And there are costs, believe it or not, our reoccurring costs, that is. So,
yeah.
If you have any questions, please feel free to message me at, what is my email? rob@pastorrobreacts.com, as well as you can message me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't have my alerts turned on, so it might take me a bit to get back to you, but I typically get back to all of them at some point. So, again, thank you for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.